Okay, we're back,
Hey.
and two other poses to show you when you're shooting and you can't really necessarily handhold very well. We're going to pretend that the scrim over here next to her is a wall, but one thing that you can do if you've got a camera and you're trying to anchor yourself is to lean your shoulder into the wall, and you've got a firm place then to hold your camera and take photos from there. I've even gone so far as to take and actually put my camera up against like a telephone pole or something like that if I'm outdoors and trying to take a really long exposure, because you know the telephone pole, the tree, the whatever isn't going to move, and then you can just gently press the shutter from there. But leaning into something will help. If you're presented with something that you can lean on, if you want to pull that chair in front of you there a little bit. Yep.
It's kind of taller than me.
It's kind of taller than you. That's okay.
I think I wear heels.
But if you're at the zoo and you're at the gate trying to take pictures of things, you can just come in and just set your camera right on top of that fence rail. If it's low enough, you can get your elbows on top of it and shoot that way. Camera's off the camera there. But those two ways, those are going to stabilize you quite a bit. Birthday shots, things like that. If you're at a table with somebody blowing out candles, that's the best thing to do. Prop your elbows right up on that table and take pictures. That way you can get those longer exposures and not use flash and ugly stuff like that. So those last two methods there will really help you out with trying to stabilize your camera. There's another older trick where essentially you wrap string around the lens and let the string droop down to the floor. Press down on the string and hold it tight, and won't prevent you from pivoting back and forth, but it'll stabilize you from doing the up and down variation that you might have holding a camera. So different things to think about. People will mock you and make fun of you if you have the camera on a string perspective, so use that in appropriate audiences where you're not going to get mocked. But try those. You should completely avoid camera shake with any of those. Obviously, a tripod's the safest way to do it, and the other thing to do is to have a shutter speed that's fast enough, because that will stop any kind of motion, including your blur as well. If you've got a lens that has any kind of, the Nikon lenses have the vibration reduction, if you have any of those, I always leave it on, because it's not going to hurt. You're going to get something that's going to help you keep the camera still. And as a general rule, you cannot shoot slower than your focal length. So if I have a 24 millimeter lens, essentially, and I know people can do this, I'm very, very stable, so I can push this a little further, but as a general rule, if you're at, like right now we're at 24 millimeters, that means I can't handhold, or I should avoid hand-holding anything a 20th of a second or longer, up to, obviously a full second, because that's where you get into problems. So if you look at really, really long lenses, with a 200 or 300 millimeter lens, that's kind of telling you it's going to be hard to handhold at a 200th or a 300th of a second. So you get a lot of people all the way telephotoed out trying to handhold their camera, and it just doesn't work out that way. So as a general rule, it's a good thing to think about, but good luck with this, and hold your cameras firm.